These prices are insane. Insane.
What are you talking about?
It's been over a year since the first Most Expensive TVC list, and most of these figures have doubled in price.
Congratulations, you just doubled your money.
I mean, the honorable mention is $145. That's how high these prices have gotten.
I think I get the point.
Okay, you're right. I keep going on about how expensive they are. Let's just watch it. Let's go! Welcome to CKC, I'm Matt, and if you like Star Wars and Star Wars collecting, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, like this video, and
hold on to your butts.
Holy Christmas. Have you seen these prices? If you haven't, have a seat and grab your popcorn, because some of these prices are friggin' insane. As you might have seen, or not seen, judging by the viewer numbers of the second video, I made two Most Expensive TVC lists almost a year and a half ago, along with a Most Valuable TVC Releases video that included the exclusives and the multi-packs and other TVC releases like that were not included in the two figure lists. There has been a significant uptick in TVC prices, particularly the figures released between 2009 and 2013, you know, before Hasbro canceled the line in favor of the Black Series 3.75-inch line, one of the greatest decisions regarding action figures ever made. After quickly realizing the error of their ways, 5 years later, Hasbro reintroduced the TVC line, making the excellent decision of jam-packing the first wave full of repacked Disney Star Wars figures from the failed Black Series 3.75-inch Walmart line. The only newly molded figure in the first wave was the TVC Snoke, who to this day still haunts my dreams as a diddler who lives at Grandpa Simpson's old folks home. But before I ramble on about all of Hasbro's missteps in the line, let's get to the list. Walter, one more time.
This is not Nam, this is bowling. There are rules.
Hey.
The rules. Rule 1. We're only talking basic figures here, VC01 to 200 and whatever we're on. Rule number 2, no exclusives, multi-packs, vehicles, or anything else. Those are for upcoming lists. Rule 3, the foil variants will be discussed when the basic figure is listed. It seems that for all the foil variants that are worth noting, the basic figure is also going to make either part 1 or part 2 of this list, so all the applicable foils will be addressed at that time.
And that's it!
I'd also like to mention that most of the pictures used in this video come from banthaskull.com, which is a great place to get your Star Wars action figure news and info. They also have a massive database of old Star Wars figure releases that is definitely worth checking out. There's a link in the description of this video in case you want to click on it and go check them out later. So let's get into it, but first, honorable mentions.
Honorable.
The VC09 Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, $145. The Revenge of the Jedi Boba Fett, $195. And the Empire Strikes Back foil variant, $220. Oh, and the Canadian misspelling, $200 to $300. Oh boy, this is going to take some explaining. So why don't you have a seat and grab a notepad, because this is going to get complicated. So Hasbro dropped a total of 8. Yes, 8 Boba Fett releases in the original run of the Vintage Collection, and 5 more, or 4 with 1 running change, have been released or are up for pre-order since Hasbro resurrected the line. That's a total of 13. But we are here to talk about VC09 specifically, so that should help narrow it down, right? Well, maybe a little bit. There are 6 VC09 Boba Fetts. 6 of them. So let me try to explain this. The original VC09 Boba Fett was an Empire Strikes Back carded release in 2010, which was actually a repack of the Legacy Collection BD36 Boba Fett, which was a repack itself of the 30th Anniversary Fett Legacy Evolutions Boba Fett, a version of Boba Fett which has a removable helmet. The original release VC09 Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett from 2010 would also have been on this list. However, its price dropped dramatically from over $100 to around $30 or $40 after the 2019 VC09 Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett re-release, the 6th version of the VC09 Boba Fett. The foil chase variant of the first release Empire Strikes Back VC09 Boba Fett from 2010 is a much more expensive version of the VC09, which is currently going for about $220. However, and I'm not going to get too much into a lot of Canadian releases because frankly, I'm just not going to go look all of them up, but there's a Canadian release of the first version of the 2010 VC09 that will run you about $200 to $300. And that's because Hasbro was incapable of actually spelling the name of arguably the most popular Star Wars character of all time. What's that you say? Boba Fett isn't the most popular Star Wars character? Well, maybe he's not. But surely after this Boba Fett embarrassment, Hasbro would take the time to spell the characters' names correctly, right? Especially if the whole damn saga's named after him, right? Anyway, then, in 2011, The Empire Strikes Back VC09 Boba Fett was released with a new paint job, including a darker green, his knees more yellow than tan, and some updates to the helmet. However, the easiest way to tell which version you have is to look at the boot stripes. Thin dark lines, that's the first release. Thick dark stripes, that's the repaint. However, there isn't a discernible difference between the value in the two. Then, also in 2011, Hasbro released the Return of the Jedi VC09 on a Return of the Jedi card, which is a completely different figure altogether. This is an updated version of the original Trilogy Collection Vintage Boba Fett, a version of Boba Fett which does not have a removable helmet. This VC09 Return of the Jedi Boba Fett will run you about $145 right now. And finally, also in 2011, Hasbro released the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive TVC Revenge of the Jedi Death Star, which included 14 Revenge of the Jedi carded TVC figures, 12 of which were then released at brick and mortar as chase variants, including Boba Fett. The Revenge carded VC09 Boba Fetts will run you about $195 today. Whew. Wow. Is anyone still listening? Number 10, VC19 Revenge of the Sith Commander Cody, $155. In the Commander Cody foil variant, $175. Everyone's favorite clone trooper that tried to assassinate General Kenobi, Commander Cody has always been a fan favorite, and he was released rather early on in the TVC, which is probably because he's just a straight repack of the Legacy Collection release, with some minor upgrades, including painting the tip of the antenna silver and correcting his belt to right side up. That's right, the Legacy Collection Commander Cody was released with an upside down belt, but thankfully, it's corrected with this release. The mold was actually pretty good, along with his articulation, as he has real gouges in the plastic to mimic battle damage, along with ball-jointed everything except for his wrists. But he could have definitely benefited from some kind of dirt wash, because he looks a little too clean to have been fighting at Utapau. And who knew Cody liked popsicles so much? As Hasbro knocked it out of the park with the blue raspberry flavored Emperor Palpatine popsicle Cody ate in Revenge of the Sith. I don't know about you guys, but to me that looks like one delicious tasty treat. So the regular VC19 Cody release is going for $155, but the variant foil is going for $175. If you didn't know, some of the figures released in the initial waves of the original run of the TVC were accompanied by these chase variant foils. Not every figure in the first 19 figures had one, but most of them did, and in most cases, the foil is worth more than the regular figure. But that wasn't always the case. So the TVC Cody and the foil are great figures to have, but if you're looking for a 3.75-inch one, the Legacy Collection figure is basically the same, but significantly cheaper. However, it's still going to run you about $80. Number 9, VC69 Bastila Shan, $155. The Expanded Universe figures have never really received enough love from Hasbro, and Bastila Shan is no different, as it actually took her winning the 2009 Toy Fair fan vote to even become a figure. Not only that, she was extremely hard to find at retail, as she got lost in the shuffle during the release of all the Revenge of the Jedi carded figures. Hasbro went with their own interpretation of her likeness for the card, which still looks good. It's just strange that they went away from her Knights of the Old Republic representation, something that they did not do with the figure, however. The mold and the articulation is about average, since she has a swivel-jointed waist and swivel-jointed hips, which severely limit the posability that a Jedi figure should have. Not only did they paint her skin color on instead of using skin tone plastic, her eyes are extremely far apart. I mean, look at that. I could drive a garbage truck between those peepers. She's also doubled in price since the last list. She was on part 2 of the Most Expensive TVC at $75, and now she's going for $155. But if you want a cheaper option, Hasbro repacked her in Phase 1 of the Black Series 3.75-inch figures, which will run you about $65. She's on the Most Expensive Black Series 3.75-inch figures list that I recently posted, which is linked in the description of this video in case you want to check it out. Definitely a cool figure to have. Let's hope she gets a Black Series and an all-new TVC release soon. Number 8, VC98 Grand Moff Tarkin, $155. You might not believe this, but Kenner never released a Tarkin figure. I know, how crazy is that? So a lot of collectors were pretty excited to see what Hasbro had in store for us when the TVC release was coming, especially since another Kenner omission, The Good Doctor, actually came out pretty good. But unfortunately for Tarkin, Hasbro left a lot to be desired. So first off, the elephant in the room, we're gonna have to talk about it, and it's the uniform color. It is awful. It should be way more grayish. But Matt, you say, the uniform Peter Cushing wore was green, and even greener than it looks on screen. Well, A, shut up, B, I don't care, and C, get fucked. Okay, that was a little dramatic, and I apologize, but this green is terrible. You are better off going more gray than green. It didn't need to be all the way gray. You can find a happy medium. I don't know about you, but I want it the color that it looked like on screen. I don't care what color the uniform actually was, because I never saw that actual uniform in person. I only saw the movie. It's kind of like that Han Solo coat on Hoth debate. I know the coat was actually brown, but it looked navy blue on screen. So that's the color I want the coat to be on my figure. That's the way I remember it, and that's the way I want it. But regardless of all that, the green is way too dark. If it was a little lighter, it might have worked, but this one is too dark. But what really kills this figure is that great skirt they gave him. Grand Moff Tarkin, Destroyer of Planets, has this skirt. It looks ridiculous. It looks like it might be a towel and he just got out of the shower. And all I can think of when I see it is that scene from Starsky and Hutch.
For the record, those are hand towels. The big towels are on the top shelf.
Hand towels, what a rod.
Jesus Christ. He's right. Go cover up.
His hair looks ridiculous too. Look at that. Who thought that was a good idea? That is not salt and pepper. I don't know what that is. He also comes with a mouse droid, which, unlike the one included in the Death Star San Diego Comic-Con 2011 exclusive, it's actually to scale and has working wheels. So he looks good on the card, but the figure itself is pretty subpar, which is unfortunate since it could have been the definitive 3.75-inch Tarkin figure. Hopefully we get a newly molded one in the TVC soon. Number 7, VC-54 ARC Trooper Commander, $175. So unlike Tarkin, this is some of Hasbro's best work in the 3.75-inch scale to this day. Even some of Hasbro's present-day TVC releases are inferior to this figure. It was released in 2011, 10 years ago. After the Legacy Collection Clone Wars Micro Series figures, Hasbro was directed by Lucasfilm to not pursue any more Micro Series figures in favor of the new Clone Wars series, which is also the reason this card says ARC Trooper Commander instead of Captain Fordo. However, this Captain Fordo was still released and is some of Hasbro's best work. A retooled version of the new VC-45 Clone Trooper mold, Fordo is actually a 2-in-1 figure and comes with enough accessories so it can be dressed up in his Phase 1 and Phase 2 armor, although the paint job on the figure is clearly mirrored after his Phase 2 look, which takes a little bit away from when he's dressed up in his Phase 1 armor, however it still looks passable. He comes with his Phase 1 and his custom Phase 2 helmet, which are both painted perfectly and made from a more sturdy plastic, which also has a little bit of give to it. They both really do look incredible, and he has ball jointed everything, so his articulation is amazing. And he comes with a soft goods comma with an elastic waist, so not only does it stay on snugly, it doesn't limit his leg articulation his ball jointed waist and ball jointed hips give you. Surely today, 10 years later, Hasbro would do the same for all their newly molded TVC figures, right? Of course. And this Fordo figure is getting a second release. Kind of. Pre-orders were open for the Walmart exclusive TVC Clone Wars Micro Series figures, which included an ARC Trooper Captain who suspiciously looked a lot like Captain Fordo. However, it's not a 2-in-1 figure, he only comes with his Phase 1 armor. But, surprisingly, he does have a soft goods comma. I know, I'm friggin' shocked too. Anyway, this is some of Hasbro's best work, and hopefully this version of the figure gets repacked soon. Or at the very least, we get an additional Phase 2 Fordo figure. That would be awesome. Number 6, VC-100 Starkiller. $200. One of the glaring holes in the Black Series 6-inch line, Hasbro has actually released a few 3.75-inch Galen Merricks, but the TVC version is by far the best one, and unfortunately was also extremely hard to obtain. The TVC wasn't big on expanded universe figures, but surprise surprise, pretty much all of them are commanding high prices on the secondary market, and Starkiller is no different. Another 2-in-1 figure, Vader's Apprentice comes with a shockingly high 10 accessories, which allows him to recreate 2 different looks from the Force Unleashed 2 video game. The head sculpt is pretty much spot on too, especially for the pre-photoreal tech era, which looks just like Sam Witwer, who voiced the character in the video game. The all-new mold was really good too, however he lacks ball-jointed waist and hips, which limits his ability to achieve those Jedi fighting stances. Probably the only bad part about this figure. Is $200 too much for you? Well, he was repacked in Phase 2 of the Black Series 3.75-inch line, which will run you about $75. However, when painting the Black Series releases, Hasbro mistakenly thought that he was Spock instead of Starkiller. A logical mistake. Haha. You can check that out on the Most Expensive 3.75-inch Black Series figures list that I posted recently, which is linked in the description of this video. One of Hasbro's best 3.75-inch figures for sure. And when you're done repacking TVC figures no one asked for, Hasbro, maybe you can get around to repacking this one. Or better yet, release him with a brand new mold. And in the Black Series, please. Number 5, the VC-113 Republic Trooper. $210. Oh, what do you know? Another expanded universe figure. And another one of Hasbro's best TVC figures ever. The Republic Trooper is a representative of Jace Malcolm from the Old Republic video game. And guess what? That's right, he's packed with accessories as well. It seems like expanded universe times lots of accessories is a winning combination for Hasbro. Maybe one day they'll figure that out too. I'm not holding my breath though. Anyway, Jace comes with a removable helmet, knife with functioning sheath, blaster with functioning holster, bandolier and shoulder armor combo, a separate bandolier, and a friggin' cannon, which he holds exceptionally well. And he's another good all-new mold, but unfortunately he has swivel-jointed hips. But he does have a ball-jointed waist, which really helps out with his articulation. The only major complaint is his head sculpt. It looks good aesthetically for the pre-photoreal tech era, but it's way too small. Look at that thing. I mean, he really looks like a pinhead. But with the helmet on, he looks a lot better. The head also lacks some articulation, as you can barely move it from left to right. But other than that, the figure was pretty awesome for 2012 standards and still holds up today. He was also repacked in the Black Series 3.75-inch line as a kind of European exclusive, where it was only available through a French sports newspaper's website after a subscription to said website. I am not making that up. He's also on the Most Expensive 3.75-inch Black Series list, which is linked in the description of this video. But don't go dropping 200 clams on this bad boy just yet. The TVC Republic Trooper won the TVC fan vote and should be re-released as a Shop Disney and Hasbro Pulse exclusive this year. I suggest picking that one up. Number 4. The VC64 Revenge of the Jedi Princess Leia Slave Outfit, $265. And the Return of the Jedi Slave Leia, $290. So when the HasLab sail barge was announced and then backed, the corresponding Jabba's Palace TVC figures prices shot up basically overnight, and the TVC Slave Leia was one of them. Figures like Weequay went from about $15 to $70 or $80 in an extremely short amount of time. I know because I was perusing eBay at the time for some TVC figures I never picked up and watched this happen. I also passed up on the TVC Grievous on numerous occasions because I thought $25 was way too much for him. Another one of my favorite TVC figures, this Slave Leia is pretty awesome, even though it's just a repack of the Legacy Collection Slave Leia release, with one glaring exception. Not only is the Legacy Collection release much cheaper, it'll run you about $60, it also includes a separate set of removable legs of her kneeling and sitting on her side, an awesome inclusion for any Jabba toy photography. So, this outrageous price is basically for the card, which really looks badass by the way. She comes with some cool accessories, including the staff and the neck collar and the chain, which really should have been longer, and the head sculpt was pretty good, especially for the pre-photoreal tech era, although her head is always cocked to the side, which kind of gives her a little bit of attitude. She was originally released on a Return of the Jedi card, and then on a Revenge of the Jedi card in the San Diego Comic-Con 2011 Death Star exclusive, which was then available in stores as the Chase variant, just like the Boba Fett release. Her figure was also included in the San Diego Comic-Con and Toys R Us exclusive Black Series 3.75-inch Jabba's Rancor set, which was pretty cool itself. An awesome figure for sure, so hopefully we get a repack or a newly molded one soon. Number 3, the Expanded Universe VC101 Shae Vizsla, $300. The final 2 waves of the TVC before it was cancelled were fan channel exclusives, which has really made some of those figures' secondary market prices skyrocket. But that's not the only reason Shae Vizsla is crazy expensive. She's also a great figure, and guess what? She's an Expanded Universe figure with a decent amount of accessories. Who would have thought? She's from the Star Wars Old Republic video game and looks awesome on that card. Her sculpt is all new and is actually one of the more intricate molds Hasbro has made for a TVC figure and is painted extremely well. They should have gave her ball jointed hips, but I guess I'll let that one slide for right now. But Hasbro did elect to go with 2 swappable head sculpts instead of a removable helmet, something that collectors have been pushing for quite some time. I don't think Hasbro had any other choice, since her hair seems to make it impossible to have a removable helmet, but it was a great decision just the same, except for one thing. Shae Vizsla is supposed to be an attractive bounty hunter, but look at that face. How did this pass inspection? I mentioned in the first Most Expensive TVC list that she looks like a Karen, and that's all I can see when I look at her. She looks like she really wants to speak with your manager. She also comes with 2 flame accessories for her dual flamethrowers, 2 pistols with holsters, a jetpack, and a hose that connects the jetpack to her armor that really gives the figure a sense of realism. She's difficult to stand when the flame effects are attached, but that's probably to be expected due to the extra weight. An awesome figure for sure, so let's hope she gets another TVC release now that there's a Gaming Greats TVC line. Number 2, the Clone Wars VC113 Ahsoka Tano, $500. This was the figure that spawned this new list. I was cruising through eBay, just minding my own business, and then bam! There's a TVC Ahsoka listed for $700. I immediately just assumed that this seller must be certifiable until I checked the sold listings and saw that some of her figures had sold for around $600. After getting a clean pair of shorts, I decided that it was 100% necessary for me to make a new Most Expensive TVC list, so here we are. The figure itself was pretty good for the time, and Hasbro rightfully sculpted a brand new mold. The paint apps, particularly for the face, are also very good. However, they elected to go with a swivel jointed waist and hips. However, as a figure, she has a great center of gravity, which makes up for some of the lacking articulation. She comes with her lightsaber, shoto, and lightsaber and shoto hilts, both of which you can attach to her hips at the same time. $500 too much for you? No problem. She was repacked in the Walmart exclusive Black Series 3.75 inch line, which will only run you about $30 right now. But if you really want that TVC card like I do, Hasbro announced that this Ahsoka will be in the next TVC repack wave. Finally, Hasbro. After endless TVC repacks of figures that no one asked for repacks of, but even if you did want those figures, you could buy the original TVC version of them for under $30 when there was a ton of figures that will run you $100 or more. You have finally decided to repack a figure that deserves a repack. I need another clean pair of shorts. Anyway, she's up for pre-order now, but they've yet to reveal the card, so I'm hoping it's going to be exactly the same. But either way, I suggest that you lock one up for yourself right now. Number 1. The Return of the Jedi, Canadian variant, VC20 Yoda, $1,500. Difficult to price because it's extremely rare, but a few have recently sold on eBay for around $1,500 to $1,800. Crazy, right? So anyway, the Wave 5 VC20 Revenge of the Sith Yoda was originally slated and advertised as a Return of the Jedi release for Wave 3, but for whatever reason was eventually pushed back to Wave 5 and switched to Revenge of the Sith Yoda, which was actually more figure specific, since the figure resembled the younger Yoda more than the older Return of the Jedi Yoda. Regardless, a small amount of VC20 Yodas were released in Canada on Return of the Jedi cards, with the Yoda picture Kenner originally used in the 80s, and they have been skyrocketing in price as of late. Last year, they were going for about $500, and now it has tripled in price. I'm assuming that the Return of the Jedi carded ones were errors, but I don't think that's ever been officially established. And I've also noticed that there's a variant of this variant, as I've seen a multi-language card and one with just English on it. Whether one is more expensive than the other, I have no idea. So anyway, that's the list. What did you guys think? Do you have any of these? How much did you pay for them? Aren't these prices insane? They have significantly jumped since the last list a year ago. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I have some more vids on the way, so stay tuned for those. And thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and happy hunting out there. She's also a great... Jeez, garage door. Always interrupting me. Fine, talk about Shae Vizsla. Yes. I know. Beautiful. Thank you. Let me continue here. She's a great figure,